Let me start by saying hello, and we are at over 1,000 subscribers. Yay! Hello everybody, African Queen Mode channel subscribers, viewers and friends. Thank you so much for those of you who are supporting my channel. I am more than thrilled. I am absolutely fabulously excited. And I just want to say thank you, Asanteni Sana. Oh, thank you so much. Keep on subscribing. Now, the next thing is go in there and watch the 200 plus videos that I've been doing over the past couple of years. I've been on YouTube for a very long time, and it's been a long time since I got to this point. It's taken me forever. Luckily, whether you are a tortoise or whether you are a cheetah, you will get to the destination as long as you keep on going. So those of you who started YouTube channels and are literally giving up, don't give up. Just keep on going. If African Queen Mo could do it, you can do it too. Okay, now right back into the subject of the discussion. He leo ni leo. That means in Swahili, today is today. Do you know there's a saying in English that says, you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. Kimeumana, guys. Kimeumana. Hey, I've been doing my research and finding out what it is that we have been cheated on. We have been cheated. I don't know whether to laugh or to cry. We have been deceived. We have been taken for a ride. We have been taken for fools. Yeah? I joined the crowd to say, yes, we have been deceived. You know, we are being ruled by a group of people who do not give a hoot. You know, just like what Michael Jackson says, he was another freedom fighter. I'm discovering them. Set me free, skinhead, deadhead, everybody gone bad, trepidation, speculation, everybody, allegation, the suit on the news, everybody, dog food, black man, blackmail, throw your brother in jail. All I want to say is that they don't really care about us. All I want to say is that they don't really care about us. Tell me what have become of my life. I have a wife and 2 children who love me. I am the victim of police brutality. I'm tired of being the victim of shame. You're raping me of my pride, oh, for God's sake. I look for heaven to fill his prophecy. Set me free, head, deadhead, everybody gone bad, trepidation, speculation, everybody, allegation, in the suit, on the news, everybody's dog food, black man, blackmail, throw your brother in jail. All I want to say is that they don't really care about us. All I want to say is that they don't really care about us. All I want to say is that they don't really care about us. That was my desperate attempt at Michael Jackson, because I know his lyrics make a lot of sense, and they made a lot of sense then, and they still make a lot of sense now. We have to stand up for ourselves, people. We as Africans, we as Kenyans, we from the beautiful continent of Africa, and apart from Africa, the whole world. You see, Michael Jackson was in America. He was standing up for American rights. But today, I want us to get right into the video. All right, guys, what we're going to talk about is this gentleman called Zakayo, okay, in quote, which is a nickname for the President Ruto of Kenya. And Zakayo is a Swahili name for Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus was a tax collector in the Bible days, and he was actually, I believe he's the gentleman who was at the top of the tree, you know, when there was a big crowd. As a tax collector, he was a very small guy, so he had to climb a tree to see, yeah, what was going on. I guess he was going there and counting the number of heads who were there that he needs to tax. I don't know whether to laugh or to cry. But today's a serious day. I wanted to talk about what they promised, what Ruto promised previously during his campaign, and what he has really delivered, what he really meant, what he really said, as opposed to what he really meant. I'm going to put on my glasses today. I was reading a story from The Star written by Shaban Omar on 27th November 2021, which is a year before the campaign. This is about, I believe they were launching the Duruma Bible. The people from Kwale, the people from the Duruma tribe, and they had translated this Bible into their language. You know, it was during some sort of national cohesion day. He was then the deputy president, and he was campaigning. He was on the campaign trail in a very serious manner. The DP said, Kenyans should focus on choosing a God-fearing person as their next president. He urged leaders to be God-fearing so that they can serve diligently and be honest. Deputy President Ruto has claimed that many politicians have suffered in the hands of sorcerers, witchcraft, and evil-minded people. The DP said that some politicians, instead of turning to the Bible, have been looking for sorcerers, hoping to get solutions to their problems. Many, he said, have suffered in the hands of sorcerers. Okay, so he spoke on a Saturday at Kinango Primary School ground in Kwale while gracing the launch of the first Durham Bible translated by the Bible Translation and Literacy Organization. All right, so let's first continue listening to what President Ruto, was saying. He said many politicians bear cut marks that are smeared with traditional herbs and ashes, but with the word of God becoming known to them, their suffering will end. He urged leaders to be God-fearing so that they can serve diligently and be honest. He said Kenyans should focus on choosing a God-fearing person as their next president. He said the future is assured when the country is led by God-fearing leaders who do not alienate anyone. He said that the word of God has played a great role in Kenyan politics, independence, and development. All right, fine. He said those things. Yeah, he has said a lot of these things. So I want us now to find out what is the reality. The reality on the ground is like this. Fast forward, April 2023. All right? And what do we have? We have Shakahola. We have the Shakahola incident, which took place in Kilifi, where we know that over 400 bodies have been found in mass graves, okay, with a gentleman called let me not call him a gentleman, okay, with a fake pastor called Pastor Mackenzie, who is behind bars for the past 10 months now. And it looks like they're still doing the investigations, looking for evidence about, his involvement in all of this. And also, there's a link to Pastor Ezekiel as well, who has admitted at some point that a few of his members were found in that forest. He has since denied all of those allegations. However, he is out on bond, but although Mackenzie is still inside. And basically, the police arrested this gentleman, but he was released. So this is what happened. This is what it says anyway, according to the France 24. Let me read you what France 24 says. Kenyan pastor released on bail over cult massacre. One of Kenya's highest profile pastors was released on bail on Thursday after appearing in court in connection with a horrific discovery last month of dozens of bodies in mass graves. Ezekiel Odero, a wealthy televangelist who boasts a huge following, is being investigated on a raft of charges including murder, aiding suicide, abduction, radicalization, crimes against humanity, child cruelty, fraud, and money laundering. Prosecutors accuse Odero of links to cult leader Paul Nthenge Mackenzie, who is in custody facing terrorism charges over the deaths of more than 100 people, many of them children, in which has been dubbed a Shakahola forest massacre. Shakahola is actually in Kilifi County, the coast. So the police had sought to detain Odero, who is popularly known as Pastor Ezekiel, for another 30 days to complete investigations, but the magistrate, Joe Omido, ordered him released on bail of 1.5 million Kenya shillings, which is approximately $11,000, saying he had to report to police once a week and not to speak about the case. Now you see we have two people there. We have, Ezekiel, Pastor Ezekiel. We also have Mackenzie. And in addition to all of this, we also have another situation on the April 29, 2023. Police arrest suspect cult leader in Nakuru and rescue 31 people. The 31, they were in a house in Kamwene B village in Kihingo, Njoro sub-county. They appeared weak and hungry after fasting for nearly a week, according to the police. This comes amid investigations into Shakahola, cult leader Paul Mackenzie, and controversial Pastor Ezekiel Odero. Detectives in Nakuru County are holding 62-year-old woman suspected to be the spiritual leader of Army Ruruama. Army Ruruama is a group which had confined 31 people in a house for a fellowship, fasting, and prayers. The 31 who were at a house in Kamwene B village in Kihingo Joro sub-county appeared weak and hungry after fasting for nearly a week, according to the police. The suspect, identified as Helen Wanjiro Weri, was arrested in a Saturday raid following a report from a 66-year-old resident, in Uasin Gishu County. So, what is happening in Kenya is really strange. Very, very strange. I was listening the other day to a YouTube video where one of the Kenyans were describing their involvement in occult and cultic practices. The most horrific things happening there. I don't know if I want to mention them, but I will provide a link to some of these videos under my video so that you can go and watch them for yourself and get shocked and be surprised. On top of that, we also know that the Kenya government has been slow to react, very slow in terms of addressing this Shakahola forest massacre, to the point where we have a British investigator, or I think he's a journalist, who's very concerned, and he actually traveled all the way to Kenya to try to conduct his own investigation on the matter with Shakahola forest. But the government is strangely quite silent on this matter, and we had expected, that they would not be. And to support my claim, let me explain this one here. France 24. Autopsies that were carried out so far by the government on the bodies that were unearthed in the forest from Shakahola noted that the causes of death were strangulation, beating, and suffocation. Can you imagine, guys? Children, mothers, people, the poor people, people being pulled into the forest. It's really, really, really shocking, that this can happen at all in our country. It's really shocking. An article from the Standard Media that is titled Shakahola, State Faulted Over Laxity That Cost Lives. It says that the Catholic Church has criticized the government for laxity in handling religious extremism. The Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops urged the government not to punish all religions over the Shakahola massacre, where over 100 people, actually it's more like 400, have died in the name of religion. Conference chairman Martin Kivuva said the church was concerned that the government had done too little, too late on the massacre. Archbishop Kivuva said it was criminal and sad that over 100 people disappeared and were later found dead without the government being aware, even with its intelligence machinery. The Archbishop expressed disappointment that the same government was more focused on regulating churches and crucifying the clergy instead of dealing with the real issues in Kilifi County. Families lost loved ones and some are unaware of where their kin are, and the government is not focused on them but busy thinking of how to punish other churches. The Catholic bishops are saying that the Shakahola incident was criminal and it was time for Kenyans to join hands and support relatives of those killed in them and those who are missing. He said it was the government's duty to deal with the individuals who use the pulpit to sacrifice, cheat, and steal from the congregation. It's time the government punished those involved instead of beating around the bush by targeting innocent clergy, imams, and churches. That's them. That is what the Catholic Church is saying. What we know is that Ruto says one thing, but he really means another. He delays, the government is lax on following up the issue of Shakahola, following up the issues of Nakuru, following up the issues of the forest. Anything that's happening, nothing. There's all this story of the occult. It's all over social media. We've seen, instead, what have they done? They've introduced same-sex.
Nimpoa. Yeah. He's my current boyfriend, that is. Yes. My babe. My love, yeah.
Mi ni boyfriend yake, ni boyfriend yangu, tunapendana, we are lovers.
So unamuita hii ama she?
The fact that atakuwa hii, nikisema she itakuwa najidanganya mimi ni nani na yeye ni nani. So we are gay couples.
Mwenye nilikuwa date kitambo, hataki ni muache. He is always over me, like unajua mahali naishi, sasa alikuwa na zile za kunifuata sana, kukaa karibu na mimi sasa sikuwa nataka hivyo.
The gay culture, the alphabet community, has rights in Kenya now. and has rights to assemble, and I have nothing against people who decide to become gay. That's their own issue. But the issue is the promotion of the gay culture in Kenya is the question. We have to ask ourselves, what are we promoting and why? If we say that if our leaders are telling the Western, governments that this is anti-African, this is against our traditions and beliefs, why is it that they need to push it? Why do they need to push the agenda? Because, it's a very touchy subject, me being in the UK as well, guys. I have to be honest and tell you the story. Okay, our children, they grow up with children who are, and when they grow up and they mature, the boys, they tend to break their vocal cords. Some of them, they break their voice, their Adam's apple, and they start to develop a real male voice, And some children just don't. They don't break their voices, yeah? One time, I remember there was a time that one of my, one of my relatives' friends, one of my relative, a child in high school, okay, had a friend who was a male, a boy, and whose voice did not break, okay? Not only did it not break, but he had very feminine characteristics, yeah? Apart from that. So his voice did not break, he had feminine characteristics, he did have a mustache, but his voice was very, very high pitched. Apart from that, he had a very swag walk, and easily it was evident that this child was different. This child was very different. And he was different, and it wasn't abnormal. It's just like, for example, you also see with women that some women will also develop male characteristics because they have more of the male hormone maybe on them. Then maybe you find women with big beards, they have difficulty even maintaining their beards. But it doesn't actually mean that their sex organs are different. The same thing, there's some people who are born with two sex organs. You're born with a male and a female sex organ. I believe in life, this is what it is. Science and nature has a way of helping you to identify differences in people without being told by anybody, without even having to be told that this one is different. You can see, you just accept them as they are. I believe African culture has always been very empathetic and understanding, okay? The only thing is that what we don't do is that we don't try to promote it and normalize it and say that this should be actually within the mainstream. We know anybody who has studied statistics understands that there's this thing called the normal curve, okay? When you have the normal curve, it means most people are fitting within the normal range, okay? Normal range. And there are some who are skewed to the right and skewed to the left. Okay, so what that means is that there are some who are different, but they're very few. It's a very tiny proportion of the population. Usually something much less than 10%, maybe 5% of the population is different, But we allow them to be different. Yeah, they are more than welcome to, live their lives as normal as possible. And we help them by not trying to enhance or to, to promote or to embarrass them in one way or another. I remember watching a program on TV in Kenya where this young man, whose contacts, by the way, I actually received, came on and said, that he was brought up as a female by his mother, but when he grew up, he discovered that he was more male than female. And I remember feeling really sorry for her, okay, because he grew up as a female with a female name, with a woman's name. But when he grew up, he found that he actually identifies more with men. So this is one of those who are in, the unique category, okay, of people. Those are people who are born different, really truly born different. And, I would say because he wants to identify with men, he came on mainstream media, told his story. And I believe, he opened my eyes, because actually I ended up giving the guy a call and talking to him about it and asking him how he feels and how he manages. And you know what he told me? He's from the Maasai community, by the way, guys. And he said that in the Maasai community, his mother understood that he was different. The elders decided that he should go through puberty first, grow up, and at the end of puberty, it will be revealed and he will decide, or she will decide, what she's going to be, whatever she transforms into. She has now transformed into a man, okay? And his mother is happy with it, is okay with it. And we are too. We are all happy with it, and I actually was encouraging him and saying, you know what, don't worry about it, that is how you were created. God created you that way. But the idea of now deciding that you're going to take 50% of the population and promote gay culture and promote gayism, promote same sex, That's a totally different thing altogether. So this has happened during Ruto's presidency, that the gay agenda has come to Kenya and been accepted, approved and accepted, but without any sort of guidelines provided to the society about how to deal with this issue. Okay, so it's going to come, and it's going to come in all shapes and forms in our society. All right, let me move on to the next issue because I really need to hurry up. I know sometimes my videos are long and I've been told I'm very wordy. Please, another thing I want to ask you guys who watch my videos, number one, please watch them in bits. Go watch a bit, come back. Go watch a bit, come back. Because I tend to be very deep and I am a woman. Okay, for every man's 5,000 words, you're going to hear 25,000 of mine. So you need to watch me in bits or just take your time and watch me and enjoy me. Okay, guys, please just forgive me. As I continue with this, I'll get better and better and better, and you won't believe it by the end. Okay, so let's get away from this shakahola thing and all these things that have now been introduced during Ruto's presidency in 1 year. All right, so now, what else did Ruto say? What else did he say? The second issue I want to deal with is the issue of promoting cohesion, okay, within the Kenyan fabric, societal fabric. During that very same occasion, in Kwale County on November 27th, 2021, President Ruto, who was then the deputy president, said, "Politics of ethnicity and division is not good for peace and the country's prosperity." The deputy president said, "People should embrace peace and unity because for socio-economic growth, unlike division, that is doomed to development." So he is promoting peace and unity, okay, for socio-economic growth. The Bible says, where there is unity, God commands blessings. It is our responsibility to unite together and to be able to govern our country, and that is the direction we must all take. Ruto said, politics of tribalism has no room in Kenya because they target to satisfy a few individuals. The politics of ethnicity benefits only a few leaders, but politics of unity of the nation benefits every Kenyan, he said. The DP said it is for this reason they came up with the National Party United Democratic Alliance to include all citizens and do away with tribalism. On Saturday morning, Ruto led a tree planting exercise within Kinango Primary and later joined various religious leaders, blah, 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 blah. Okay? So, Governor Salim Mvurya praised Ruto for being a transformative leader who has helped change the face value of Kwale. Ruto and His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta has a great history with the Kwale people. You have helped put roads and set the pace of development. Okay, Governor Salim said the DP was the right person to carry the mantle from Uhuru, adding that he's straightforward and a visionary leader. He said Ruto and his deputy Fatuma Achani have proved to be ready to take over power. So at that time, Salim was serving his last term and he endorsed Achani for the Kwale governor seat. Okay, he says leadership should be given to leaders who stand by the locals under all circumstances. That is why we say Kwale people will support Ruto in his 2022 presidential bid. All right, so what actually happened? Okay, what actually happened? What was stated and what was happening are two very different things. And as we speak, unfortunately, it's getting a little bit dark in here, so I'm going to try and see if I can get some light. So here were the governors, of all the places. I think there was Kilifi, they were in attendance, Kwale, everywhere. They were all in attendance, guys. So the question is it really true that Ruto is a visionary leader? What did he do for the people of Kwale as soon as he came into power? What did he do? Let me give you a little bit of a rundown of what happened in Kwale County. Kwale, under the Kenyan Kwanza government, was the first to be identified to participate in the Maisha Number experimental digital ID program. This was funded. This was an internationally funded program, and we know who funds those programs, which was in its pilot phase already. It was already being piloted. this Maisha number? How do you pilot a program where you're inserting digital ID trackers into the bodies of babies? Unless you're actually doing it already, I want to know, where did they pilot test this program? Where and on whom did they pilot this program? Okay? So, Kwale County under the Kenya Kwanza government was the first to be identified. By the way, this county has one of the highest maternal and child poverty rates, and also nutritional stunting of children under the age of 5. It has one of the lowest adult literacy levels because in that county, mostly families are mostly polygamous, they're Muslim, many of their young girls stop education at a very young age and go and get married, okay? So this is a county where the exposure level of the population is very low. I wondered to myself, why did they not try this thing in Nairobi? Why did they start it in Nairobi? No, they picked Kwale County. Kwale County that endorsed the deputy president then to become their president. When he became president, he brought them Maisha number, which, by the way, was stopped by the courts of Kenya. I know it has been put on pause by I don't know whether it's the High Court or Supreme Court, yeah, but it has been paused. But otherwise, it would have been rolled out in Kwale County. Now, those leaders of Kwale County need to be aware about what's going on. They should not allow their people to become guinea pigs for the government or for any international organization that is trying to insert digital IDs or try new experimental drugs on the population, or vaccines, in my view. All right. So what is the second thing that he did? Dongo Kundu. The Dongo Kundu is a road that is under construction, okay, in a specific area in southern coast. It links the south coast to the Mombasa highway. All right. And currently the south coast is linked by a ferry, but now there's going to be a road going that direction. It's a very beautiful road, and the south coast is being developed. You can imagine that the first people who actually went into the south coast are the people who are the entrepreneurs of Kenya, basically. A lot of people of the Kikuyu community, I can attest to it being a member, have bought tracts and tracts of land in south coast. So they were looking forward to the development of this road so that they can actually take development to the south coast. And it's not just Kikuyus, by the way, it's anybody who had money. People who are ambitious naturally, who do not have land, are looking to invest in the coast. Of course, it's a good place to invest. But what does Ruto do? He starts to poke holes into that whole issue. He takes this road, which is supposed to be for all Kenyans, to join Kenyans together, to join the country together, to create movement, free and easy movement. He takes that road and actually makes a negative statement. He says, he starts to ask questions that, what is a person with a P.O. box Nairobi doing in Dongo Kundu? It's the same thing that he did in Lamu. He went to Lamu and also is on record asking people why a certain members of other communities from outside of that region are settling in that area. Do you know, I wonder to myself, why is that? Why do we have this thing happening in Kenya? Is this the guy that was endorsed by Kwale, the deputy president then, who was talking against politics of tribalism, who said that the politics of tribalism has no room in Kenya because they target and satisfy a few individuals? So, is he one of the few individuals who's going to be satisfied by this politics of tribalism? And the politics of ugaidi, which is politics of, of separation, of separatism? The other thing is he did this. I also heard stories about Kenyans losing their homes in Kiambu area, in Roiro. There are Kenyans who are losing their homes to the current Bomayangu project, which is in Naivasha. People who worked for the previous administration, such as Amina Mohammed, who was born and raised in Kakamega, she's lost her house, her big, huge palatial home. She's lost her house to the government. The government has brought it down. The government has gone around destroying properties that belong to Kenyans, destroying the hard work and the hard sweat of Kenyans. Yeah? And this is completely unacceptable. Totally, totally unacceptable. And I wondered to myself, why is it that the government doesn't just take its own tracts of land that it has and go and build on those tracts of land that are empty, that don't have anything? They can start from scratch. They can put in electricity systems. They can put in water sewerage systems. They can put in good roads, connect them to the city center. There's plenty of land. Plenty of land. Along Kajiado Highway, there's plenty of land. Along the Mombasa Road, there's plenty of land. So why do they have to go to places which are already settled by Kenyans to go to remove them, to displace them. Politics of displacement and separatism. This is exactly what I see happening myself. And I'm sure you also see that, you guys. Okay? Now let's talk about the economy. The Wajir Member of Parliament, Ahmed Kolosh, said Ruto is the solution to Kenya's economic problem. He urged the UDA party members to remain loyal and to support one another, even after party ticket nominations, to promote the bottom-up economic model and change the country political narrative. Ruto was accompanied by MPs Mohammed Ali, Benjamin Tariat, Msambweni Faisal, Owen Baya, Kilifi North, amongst others. Okay, so he was accompanied by those people. This is all at the same meeting, guys. This is still at the same meeting where they were in Kwale and the national cohesion meeting. Okay, where we were talking about national cohesion and where they were launching the Duruma Bible. Well, what do we know so far? What is the truth about the current Kenya economy right now? What we know is that Ruto inherited an economy that was approximately 7 trillion shillings in debt. Currently, he has borrowed 4 trillion shillings within 1 year. 1 year of his presidency, he has borrowed like half of the money more than half of the money that has been borrowed over 10 years of the Uhuru presidency. Okay, so if we give him another year, what's going to happen? He's going to borrow how many more? Yeah, so to the point where Kenya is on the list of Kenya is actually teetering on being, Kenya is just almost getting grey listed if we're not already grey listed. Yeah, and we're almost going to be blacklisted. Let's watch and see in February whether Kenya joins the list of blacklisted countries. That would be very, very serious. Those of you guys, who need to learn economics, we'll talk about blacklisted and grey-listed countries very soon. But let's just talk about things in general for right now. Okay, guys? So let's talk about the economy. How are we doing since Ruto came in? The fact is that we are now 11 trillion shillings in debt as we speak, as of now, which is January 2024. We are 11 trillion shillings in debt. That means that we are at over 80%, according to Jimmy Wanjigi's interview on Spice FM the other day. He told us that 80% of our country revenue is going to service debt. Many countries have been pushed into debt default, including Ghana and Zambia, Zimbabwe. So many countries have been pushed into debt default at even less than 79%, 80% of revenue against debt portfolio that we have right now. Yeah. So we are going to be another Sri Lanka if you're not careful. If we're not careful, we're going to be another Ghana. And what he also said, which was very frightening, was that countries that have pushed into this kind of debt distress, all of them except for Ghana because maybe of our culture, where the Ghanaian president requested, begged to be allowed to leave power with a little bit of dignity, and he was allowed to stay. All the others, they lost their presidency. They lost it. They were impeached. They were removed from power. Because how can you operate even a home budget where all the money that you're getting every month, your 80% is going to debt and the rest of it is supposed to service your household needs? How would that even work? I don't even know how these people run their households. I don't know. I do not know. Do you guys wonder? So there we are. Let's see, 6,200 foreign investors have already fled the Nairobi Securities Exchange as of last year, December 2023. Almost half of all the investors in the country have left and they're fleeing. Just yesterday, I saw that the guests, the international visitors to Kenya, are dumping the Masai Mara, one of the 7 wonders of the world, and choosing to view the animals, wildlife, from the Serengeti National Park, which is on the Tanzanian side. Our economy is 11 trillion shillings in debt. We are seriously in debt. To add to that, we have now been downlisted on Moody's to B-, less than Tanzania. So all our investors are going to Tanzania. Why? Because apparently there are rules. Rules must be followed. Where companies where foreign investors are allowed to invest is based on several types of, guidelines and rules, because they're investing pension funds and things like that. Pension funds from their countries. Do you think that they're going to go and invest pension funds in a high-risk economy like Kenya, the way we're going, with all the corruption that we have, with being downgraded by Moody's, all this government wastage, all of this, corruption? It's just ridiculous, guys. It's ridiculous. And we refuse to follow up. The government has refused to follow up on corruption. Kenya shilling has lost its value right now. As we speak, the other day I was telling you I was exchanging pounds at 196. Well, now we're exchanging at 200 plus, right? That was in December, and now this is January, okay? As we speak, my friend who is in Australia told me this morning that they're exchanging the Australian dollar at over 100 shillings, where they usually exchange it at 60. We are an import-led economy, guys. So we have been downlisted. The Kenya shilling has lost value officially as about 19%, but unofficially we know it's probably like maybe 40%, who knows what. Because the way I can tell that our shilling has really lost value is when, for example, and the inflation has gone so out of hand, is, for example, I remember there was a time before I left Kenya in 2022 around September, that was just after elections. We were buying tokens at about 60 units for 1,000 shillings. The other day, just in December, I got 30.5 units for 1,000 shillings. Half the number of units in 1 year. That 1,000 shillings has been basically downgraded by half by the Kenya Power and Lighting Company. Unbelievable. I get less than half the number of units. And just today, I just heard, was it today or yesterday, that the Kenya Power and Lighting Company have also increased the cost of energy again. What are we going to be paying for electricity, you people? I remember there was a time during Uhuru's government where the Minister for Energy was telling us and encouraging Kenyans to use electricity and not even gas. He said electricity is going to be very cheap. Use electricity. And many people went and bought electric cookers. Oh my God. So now, another problem that we have is taxation. As we all know, Kenyans are paying amazing amount of taxes. Punitively. A punitive finance bill was approved by the parliament that has no legal mandate, by the way. That finance bill. It only has legal mandate within the parliament. Nowhere else. It's not actually within the constitution. Meanwhile, the government fails to remit the taxes that are paid by its own government workers. It fails to remit to Kenya Revenue Authority. So they start to complain that they're not getting enough revenue, but meanwhile the government is collecting the money, not remitting it to it. The government is now going to charge Kenyans for anybody who has eggs and chickens and any farm produce is going to have to be giving money, taxes to the government. You pay taxes for every chicken that is born, for all the milk that you sell on your farm, for the plants that you're growing on your farm. You're paying taxes already for the seed, for the fertilizer. You're paying taxes everywhere for everything. And meanwhile, even what you produce on the land, without the support of the government, guys, we still have to pay taxes. Today, the government has announced an increment in NSSF, National Social Security Fund, taxes by 6%. So we have 6%, tax increase. And then we have the 3% for the housing levy. Then I don't know what we have. Oh, it's unbelievable. Meanwhile, we're also paying taxes on our food. The government is foregoing taxes, meanwhile. 75 billion shillings last year on cereal imports and grain imports that they bring in duty-free. So the suppliers can bring in the stuff duty-free, but eventually they offload the cost to the consumer. So when you go to the supermarket, you have to pay for what the importer did not pay for. Meanwhile, the president is openly issuing threats to the judiciary, which is a third arm of government, as well as the people of Kenya, because the judiciary is saying no. The judiciary is pushing back and saying, hey, you're going a bit too far now, Mr. President. Parliamentarians, however, all but a very small minority are now in bed with the executive, as we know. They're eating from the big plate and at the expense of the common mwananchi. And the president has reneged on its commitments to repaying the loans. But now that is actually really worrisome. I can just imagine that's one of the reasons why we are on Moody's, because do we have ability to pay, and do we have a commitment to pay, goodwill to pay? Kenya is showing that we don't have goodwill to pay because we promised to pay in December, to start repaying off our debt in December. We haven't done it. We haven't. Meanwhile, the politicians don't even care because all they care about is the NGCDF, which is anyway illegal. And that's the reason why they are fighting the judiciary. The only reason why the parliamentarians are suddenly fighting the CS of Treasury, Ndumu, is because he hasn't released their national government CDF. He hasn't released it. And the reason is because he doesn't actually have to release it because it's illegal. Yeah? He can hide behind the judgment of the judges, and that's the reason why the judges are really going to get it. Judges, you know what? You guys have to stand firm. That's the reason why you took up those jobs. Stand firm. Stand firm. Like Maraga told you, as a judge, this is the time we're going to watch you. Willie Mitunga is on your side. We're all on your side. We Kenyans. We want to see the judges standing firm. Okay? Martha Koome, there's a reason why Martha Koome is there. We want you to stand firm this time. Even if you let down Kenyans initially, Kenyans see that you let them down. Yet Kenyans continue to wait and give Ruto time as the ultimate chief hustler. Now, this is the part that really worries me, you people. Who is giving Ruto time? His Excellency President Ruto. The more time you give him, the more money he's going to borrow, the more he's going to continue his divisionary politics, the more there's going to be more and more laxity in terms of government following up on issues to do with occultism. The more that the gay agenda is going to grow, the more that we're going to see children probably at threat of being inserted with trackers, like the way we've inserted a tracker on our cat here in this country, the more that our economy is going to be going down and down and down and down. Yeah, this is just going to be a problem. Yeah. So meanwhile, they claim to make unpopular decisions immediately and cannot be postponed. Just the other day, I was just listening. Was it yesterday? I was listening to, I think it was Nation TV, where some of these politicians were interviewed, okay? And also a member of the Azimio group. And he said, Kenyans are continuing to wait to give Ruto time as the ultimate chief hustler continues to convince Kenyans that the country is doing well and the economy has grown by 4%. Meanwhile, they claim to make unpopular decisions immediately and cannot be postponed because, as you guessed it, in the previous regimes, lack of savings. Yeah. They're blaming Uhuru's government for not having enough savings. Okay? When the chief hustler himself, the current president of Kenya, was a deputy president. So the deputy president is blaming the government that he used to lead for not having enough savings, saying that he didn't have power. So if he didn't have power, what was he doing in that position? If you don't have power, if things are happening and they're out of control, if you are a really honest person, if you're a man of your word, you get up and you resign. You resign, you get up and you stop eating you stop eating from that plate. Okay? But you won't do that because what you're speaking is rubbish and lies. Okay? Their claim is to stabilize the financial situation in the country. Yeah, right. They say that they're lifting taxes to stabilize the situation of the country and that because Kenyans don't have a saving culture, they're trying to inculcate a saving culture into Kenya and into Kenyans, and they're not insensitive to the plight of the people. Of course they're very insensitive to the plight of the people. Okay? So what they say, kusema si kutenda. To say is not to do. There's this saying, kusema na kutenda. Ruto liked to say that. Kusema na kutenda. That is to say and to do. But that means it's kind of like to show that whatever you say, you should do. You should be a person of your word. But he has demonstrated that he's completely the opposite. He's not a person of his word at all. As we speak right now, we're even wondering what's really happening in terms of the housing project, because we can see a young man just came on to Twitter the other day and on Facebook complaining that he submitted through the government portal, he submitted 10% to own a studio apartment on this Boma Yetu project of the government. But out of the number of apartments that he saw, he thought that the number of apartments would reduce once he pays his, you can imagine. He thought that maybe at some point, the number of apartments is going to reduce from, let's say there are 300, for example. He expected it to go to 299 because he has paid for one. But no, the number remained at 300. He had paid. Meanwhile, his money was not registered. He did not get any receipt. He's not able to contract them. He says that he contacted Safaricom, mobile payment provider, Safaricom, who said that he needs to go to the merchant. He needs to go back to the merchant. But he's not able to make any headways in there. So it's like he feels like he's lost his money. Maybe something like about 150,000. Maybe the studio was going for 1.5 million. And I think he's lost 150,000 or something like that. Yeah. And he has nowhere to go. No room. Yeah. So this is a problem, guys. We are in trouble in Kenya. We are in trouble. Whatever Ruto promised to do, for those of you who believed him, because I didn't, for those of you who believed him and still do believe him and still hope, that he will deliver, I'm sorry to let you know, but it's not going to happen. Because there's a saying, the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. In the past, if you recall, in the Uhuru government, Uhuru kept calling on Ruto, please stop your campaigns, please work, please do your job. He wasn't doing it. Why? Then why wasn't he doing it? Because he was busy in campaign mode, running around the whole country, campaigning to be president. He was desperate to be president, and he was only wanted to clinch the presidency. As we speak right now, again, he's in campaign mode. The only thing that Ruto is interested at this minute is to clinch the presidency in 2027. He's not interested in actually delivering for Kenyans. Kenyans, please wake up. Please wake up. Yeah? He's not interested in delivering for Kenyans. What he says he's going to do is completely the opposite of what he does. Okay? So be careful not to be shakaholat. Be careful not to be tricked. Be careful not to be kurambwad. You cannot be kurambwad, man. We cannot be tricked all the time. We need a performer. We need somebody to lead Kenyans. Kenyans are some of the most hardworking people. I love my Kenyan people. We are all hardworking, all tribes. We love each other. We are such a dynamic and thriving country because our grandparents, our great-grandparents, our parents, ourselves, we have all invested a lot of our energy into that country. And I, for one, as a Kenyan, do not want to see my country go down any further. I believe that we still can rescue Kenya, but we now have to come together, all tribes together, everybody, all hands on deck. We need to save our country, guys. We need to save it from this regime. We must save it. We must get up. For those of you who are supporting this regime, sometimes it's just good to keep quiet and just, don't keep talking when we can see the glacier is over there and the ship is sailing towards the glacier. And you're busy saying, no, I think we're doing just fine. Just give us enough time. We're not going to crash. We're going to find a solution. And the glacier is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The threat of default is real. Do you know what default looks like, guys? You'll find out what default looks like. Let's continue talking. Thank you so much for your time, everybody. Thank you. Lovely to have you on my channel. Thank you for tolerating this long rant. It's actually turned out to be a rant, and let's keep on reading. Yeah, I'll keep doing some research for you. Give me some time, I'll get better. Okay, so on that note, thank you very much. Toodles. Until next time, have a lovely weekend. Bye. Thank you for watching, and please remember, thumbs up, subscribe, watch all my videos. I have so many of them, over 200 videos, and you are welcome to watch them. Increase my watch hours. I need to get to at least 4,000 so that we can monetize. Very soon I'm going to be giving you a number there, in fact maybe even starting from this video, so that you can start supporting me, so that I can spend more time doing research and bringing you this kind of information. I'm sure it's going to help you, yeah? Let's use my skills to do this work and keep me busy, keep me occupied. Your sister in diaspora, go ahead and support me. You don't have to give a lot of money, just a small amount is good. Haba na haba hujaza kibaba. Whatever you want to give me, that's fine. Me, I appreciate everybody. Just go ahead. You put that money onto my M-Pesa. I'm going to provide it there. I am not a beggar, but I am a businesswoman. Okay? I'm proudly entrepreneurial. And I don't live in a cloud where there's no money. We all buy things. So as I enrich you, you also support me. Support my channel so that we can get to the point where I can actually get a team on board and we can do even better work in the future. We can do a better job of editing and allow me to do more of my research work and more evaluative work and also reporting to you. Okay guys, I also want to do interviews, and very soon I'm going to do an interview here and you're going to watch it. There's going to be a lot of fun on my channel, so let's go for it. And thank you again for helping me reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers. Now we're on the road to 10,000. We're going to skip 5,000. We're on the road to 10,000. So share and get people to subscribe to my channel, African Queen Mo Cardiff. If you do African Queen Mo, you may not get to it. You need to do Cardiff.